The call came from Andrea Liu at Premier Event Insurance. Miss Patterson? I'm handling the liability coverage application for an event at 2847 Lakeshore Road. Your property. There's a significant discrepancy I need to clarify before we can issue the policy. I was in my office in Seattle, 200 miles from the lake house I'd purchased 3 years ago. The lake house my sister Rachel apparently claimed as joint family property. What kind of discrepancy? The applicant, Rachel Patterson Moore, signed as property co-owner and authorized representative. She's planning a wedding for 200 guests. Ceremony, reception, overnight accommodations. Our standard verification pulled county records. You're listed as sole owner. No co-owners, no trust structure, nothing. I need to understand what's happening before I recommend whether we proceed or report this as insurance fraud. My hand tightened on the phone. She's planning what? Wedding ceremony scheduled for June 14th. That's 8 weeks from now. She's already paid her planner $12,000 in deposits. Venue coordination, catering, logistics, vendor management. The planner, Melissa Chin of Cascade Wedding Design, required proof of venue authorization. Your sister provided a signed liability waiver claiming co-ownership and legal authority to host events. I pulled up my calendar. June 14th. I'd blocked that weekend for a client presentation in Vancouver. How many people did you say? 200 guests. Ceremony on the lawn, cocktail hour on the dock, reception in the main house. Overnight accommodations for the wedding party, 12 people sleeping on site. Your sister told Ms. Chin the family owns the property collectively and everyone agreed to host the wedding. The room tilted slightly. I never agreed to anything. I didn't even know she was engaged. Long pause. Ms. Patterson, your sister has contracts with 7 vendors. Caterer, florist, photographer, DJ, tent rental company, transportation service. Total contracted amount approximately $85,000. She's told everyone she has legal authority to use this venue. If that's false, we're looking at fraud on multiple fronts. Send me everything. Every document she signed. Andrea complied within 2 hours. I read through the insurance application first. Rachel had signed as Rachel Patterson Moore co-owner, and checked boxes certifying she had legal authority to host events, adequate liability coverage and property owner consent. The liability waiver was worse. Detailed document acknowledging risks of outdoor events, alcohol service, waterfront activities. Signed and dated 3 months ago. Rachel's signature, clear and confident, right below the line stating, I certify I am the legal property owner or authorized representative with full authority to host this event. The wedding planner's contract listed the venue as Patterson Family Lake House, 2847 Lakeshore Road. Venue fee, waived, noted as family property. Coordination fee, $12,000 already paid. The contract included detailed floor plans showing ceremony setup, reception layout and overnight sleeping arrangements. I'd bought the lake house in May 2021 for $580,000. Inheritance from my grandfather. Money he'd left specifically to me after I'd spent 2 years caring for him during his final illness. Mom had been too busy. Rachel had been emotionally unable to handle it. So I'd handled it. Alone. And Grandpa had left me money. Only me. I hired James Whitfield, a contracts attorney in Olympia. He reviewed everything by end of day. Your sister has created massive liability, James said. She's misrepresented ownership to obtain services under false pretenses. The insurance company could pursue fraud charges. Every vendor could sue for breach of contract when they discover she lacked authority. And if this wedding proceeds and someone gets injured on your property, you're exposed because you're the actual owner. What are my options? Immediate cease and desist. We notify all vendors of the fraudulent representation, terminate all contracts and demand return of deposits. Your sister will face significant financial consequences. Vendors can keep deposits for breach of contract. The planner's $12,000 is almost certainly non-refundable at this point. We can pursue civil action against Rachel for attempted fraud and unauthorized use of your property. I thought about Rachel's voice at Christmas. You have that big empty house just sitting there. I thought she meant I should visit family more often. How far along is the planning? Very far. Save the dates sent to 200 people. Hotel blocks reserved in town. Guest booking flights. If we stop this now, it's a disaster. If we stop it later, it's a catastrophe. If we let it proceed, you're liable for everything that happens. Send the cease and desist. All vendors. Today. James drafted letters to every vendor on Rachel's list, sent by email and overnight mail. Rachel Patterson Moore has fraudulently misrepresented ownership of property located at 2847 Lakeshore Road. She has no legal authority to host events at this location. Any contracts signed with Ms. Patterson Moore for June 14th event are void due to fraudulent misrepresentation. The actual property owner, Rebecca Patterson, has not authorized this event and explicitly prohibits it. Rachel called 37 minutes after vendors received the emails. What the hell did you do? Stopped you from committing insurance fraud. It's a family property. Grandpa would have wanted. Grandpa left it to me. Only me. In a will drafted by his attorney, signed by witnesses, probated in court. You know this because Mom complained about it for 8 months. It should have been shared. It's not fair that you got everything. I got something because I spent 2 years managing his medications, driving him to appointments, sleeping in his guest room to help him to the bathroom at 3 a.m. Where were you? Silence. Then, I couldn't handle seeing him like that. So I handled it. And he left me money. Which I used to buy property. My property. Not family property. You're going to ruin my wedding over ownership technicalities? Rachel, you told 7 vendors you own property you don't own. You signed insurance documents claiming legal authority you don't have. You planned to host 200 people at my house without asking permission. This isn't technicalities. This is fraud. Mom said you'd be fine with it. There was. Mom knew. She helped me plan it. She said the lake house was perfect and you never use it anyway and family shares these things. I closed my eyes. Did Mom also sign documents claiming ownership? She signed the catering contract as a reference. Why? Because she just became legally liable too. I heard Rachel's breathing change. What happens now? Every vendor keeps your deposits for fraudulent misrepresentation. You lose the $12,000 to the planner. The insurance company is deciding whether to report you for insurance fraud. You need to tell your 200 guests the venue fell through. And you need to find a new location in 8 weeks. I can't afford another venue. We already paid deposits. You could have asked me, Rachel. Before signing contracts. Before lying to vendors. Before committing fraud. You could have asked. Would you have said yes? I thought about that. About Rachel borrowing my car in college and returning it with a cracked windshield. Accidents happen. About her borrowing my designer jacket and returning it stained. Dry cleaning is expensive. About her asking to stay at my Seattle apartment for a few days. And staying 6 weeks while I slept on my own couch. No, I said honestly. I wouldn't have. Because you don't respect boundaries, you don't respect property, and you don't respect me. She hung up. The vendor fallout was immediate and comprehensive. The planner, Melissa Chin, kept the full $12,000 deposit. Her contract specified non-refundable payments after 3 months, and Rachel had signed 4 months ago. The caterer kept $8,500. The florist kept $3,200. The tent company kept $2,800. Total lost deposits, $26,500. Mom called that evening. You're destroying your sister's wedding over pride. I'm protecting my property from fraud. Family shares. That's what family does. Family asks permission. Family respects ownership. Family doesn't commit insurance fraud. She made a mistake. She assumed you'd be supportive. She assumed she could steal my property for her wedding and I'd accept it. That's not a mistake. That's entitlement. Entitlement? She's your sister. I thought about the ghost ledger, years of items I could invoice. Rachel's destination bachelorette party that I'd paid $1,800 to attend because she really wanted me there. Her student loans I'd co-signed when she was 23, defaulting after 8 months, destroying my credit for 3 years. The bridesmaid dress for her first wedding. Yes, first wedding, that cost $340 and I wore once. Every transaction the same. Rachel wants, I provide, Rachel moves on. I'm done being the family bank, I said. Find another venue. Mom hung up. James sent a formal letter to my parents. Any future attempts to misrepresent ownership of property at 2847 Lakeshore Road will result in immediate legal action, including trespassing charges, civil suits for damages, and criminal complaints for fraud. The letter included documentation, deed showing my sole ownership, timeline of Rachel's fraudulent representations, copies of voided contracts, vendor statements confirming her misrepresentation. Mom called it legal bullying. I called it establishing boundaries. Rachel did find another venue, a community center 40 minutes outside Seattle. Capacity, 100 guests. Cost, significantly higher than she'd budgeted because she was booking 8 weeks out. She had to cut her guest list in half and downgrade her catering package. She sent a group text to extended family. Due to unforeseen circumstances beyond our control, we've had to change venues and reduce guest count. Some of you will unfortunately no longer be invited. My aunt called me. What happened with the lake house? Rachel never asked to use it. She just took it. That sounds like Rachel. It did. 3 months later, I sit on my dock with evening wine, watching sunset paint the lake in shades of orange and pink. The water is perfectly still, reflecting sky and trees. Inside, the house is quiet. My space, my peace, my sanctuary. Rachel's wedding happened. 100 guests instead of 200. Community center instead of lakefront estate. She posted photos on social media. Everything looked fine, slightly scaled down, perfectly adequate. She hasn't spoken to me since April. Mom sends occasional guilt trip texts that I don't answer. My aunt privately told me I did the right thing. I installed a proper security system after the cease and desist. Cameras, motion sensors, monitored alarm. Anyone who approaches without permission, I'll know immediately. The lake house isn't family property. It's my property. Bought with my inheritance, maintained with my income, protected with legal boundaries. Rachel wanted a venue. She saw my house and decided it was hers to take. She learned otherwise. The water laps quietly against the dock. The evening air smells like pine and water and freedom. Inside, my home waits, secure, private, undeniably mine. And that clarity is worth every burned bridge.